Good morning, everyone. My name is Etiquette. I'm here to kick off the show today with a Scarlet and Violet run. And with me, I have a Spider who's going to explain what this marathon is.
Yes, so this is CatEx Expo, a marathon to celebrate more or less 2 years of the Cat Expo community. Basically, the idea of this community is that every month we choose a new community submitted category extension to run for a month or two, depending on at what point we did it. But yeah, so today we're going to be showing off 5 of the past categories. So our first one on the schedule is a Victory Road TAM, which I believe was, I can pull it up, was the category from April 2024. So, yeah.
All right. So yeah, this is Victory Road Trade Alt main. I will be using a Sandile, or will evolve into a Crocodile, as our main Pokemon. We'll explain what that is, though, as we get going. So I'll give a quick little countdown, and then time starts when I open my menu. So getting started in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So Victory Road is one of the 3 stories in Scarlet and Violet. It is the one that is related to defeating all the gyms and doing the Elite Four. So we are only required to fight all 8 gyms and then fight the Elite Four and finally beat our rival Nemona at the end. But we will be doing a little bit of other stuff. And then, Spider, do you want to explain what a Trade Alt main is?
Yeah, so Trade Alt main is popularized for Sword and Shield. Basically, the idea is that you transfer in a Pokemon that you bred in a different save file. Nice cross jump. And then you level it up to a certain level where it basically simulates where your starter would have been if the Pokemon that you transferred in was your starter. It's not, for Sword and Shield, it's very relevant. It's not super relevant here, but because it is a traded Pokemon, you do get the extra bonus EXP. But because we have EXP candies everywhere, and that's where most of our experience is coming from, it's not nearly as relevant here as it would be for a Sword and Shield TAM. The downside is that you have to watch out for obedience, but because of the way obedience works in this game, it's actually not a concern. Because in Scarlet and Violet, they changed it so that obedience only looks at when you first met the Pokemon. And since it obeys us right now, it will forever obey us.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, but it's also one of the reasons I think, that plus the abundance of candies is probably one of the reasons why Trade Alt mains, like, as a whole, didn't really kick off in Scarlet Violet too much. Like Spider said, it is a very, very, very big thing in Sword and Shield. It was basically impossible in BDSP because of the obedience thresholds in that game. And then in this game, it just was never really a big thing. So I'm going to be going ahead and grabbing a bunch of rare candies and experience candies. And then we are going to fight Cloth. Cloth is one of the Titans, which we do not have to beat all 5 Titans in this run. But I will be beating Cloth specifically because it gives the ability to dash. Dashing is pretty fast, and this category is like right on the cusp of dash being worth it. I think Spider would say it's still debatable whether or not it is worth it in Victory Road.
When I first claimed that we were going to stop doing dash in Victory Road, I was assuming that cutscenes would not benefit from the Switch 2 improvements, but the Arven cutscenes do, so then I'm back to thinking it probably is worth it to continue getting dash.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and give our Sandile a couple of new moves, as well as experience candies. We got ourselves up to level 26. I forget exactly what Sandile's evolution levels are. I want to say it's like 30 and 42. So we are still a little Sandile here. but we're going to go ahead and use Dig against the Cloth. Cloth has an ability that when it goes below half health, it triggers basically, it's called Anger Shell. It basically triggers like a shell smash. So the defenses get lowered, but the speed, special attack, and attack all get boosted. You really want to try to avoid that because in Scarlet and Violet, there is no animation turnoff. So you get stuck with all of these stat ups and stat down animations. This fight here, it is more likely than it used to be to see those stat animations. I once again have to dig, which is a 2-turn move. And what we're really hoping for is the Shelder on turn 1 to use either Leer or Water Gun. If it uses Water Gun, it'll do enough chip damage that the Dig should kill. If it uses Leer, then the defense will get lowered enough that Dig will kill. If it decides to Life Dew, like it did twice yesterday to me, both turns 1 and 2, then it will not KO the second turn, and we will see the Anger Shell animation. So
I like how I've done so much early game Scarlet and Violet routing that when you use the L candy, you went to 24 and the M candy to 26. I'm like, oh, Sandal's medium slow.
Yep. Oh, it didn't kill. All right, apparently this is a range. My routing is from a year and a half ago, so there's some things I didn't remember.
Hopefully this is the only Anger Shell we see today. Because the run that Dynam and I are doing later also will involve beating Cloth.
Oh, we got another Leer. Cool. And Shelder gets the kill. All right. I do see people talking in chat about the ability. Yeah, we are using Anger Point. It is the only ability that doesn't have the extra stat animations. So Intimidate. The 3 abilities that Sandile and Crocodile could have are Intimidate, Moxie, and Anger Point. Moxie would probably be the correct choice if those stat animations didn't happen. But the way Moxie works is every time you KO a Pokemon, your attack goes up by 1 stage. So you can see how, especially late game, like that could be super powerful. It's just, it would end up being pretty slow. And then Intimidate, for obvious reasons. Every time we go out in battle, we're going to drop the attack of the opponent, and that is not ideal. So Anger Point, I believe when we get critical hit, our attack goes up to +6, which is the maximum attack stage. That should never happen in the run. I guess technically there are places it could happen, but it shouldn't.
It'd be fun if it did, though.
It would, yeah. All right, so like I said, this is the only Titan we're going to be facing. This is a pretty long cutscene here, but I can kind of explain. So with trade alt mains, one of the rules is basically like, because you are using a main Pokemon that is like different than normal, you have to do everything with that main Pokemon. In the purest sense of trade alt mains, you cannot deal a single point of damage with any other Pokemon. Anyone who knows Scarlet and Violet probably knows that that is not the best, just because there is some trickery we like to do around Gym 5 that involves using a different Pokemon, specifically a weaker Pokemon. So because this is not a real category and we kind of like did this for the
Fun.
Cat Expo, yeah, we did it for fun. We will actually allow for that, but for all intents and purposes, the rest of the run will be sort of your traditional trade alt main rules of only Sandile is going to be, or Crocodile, pretty soon actually, is going to be dealing damage. And any other Pokemon we either catch or already have with us will just sort of be there as a sidekick. All right. All right, so now begins the movement that you will probably see almost even runs that don't beat Cloth. You will see some variation of this movement. The main goal is to hit as many fly points as you can that you're going to need later on in the run, while also picking up useful items, whether they be items that we're going to sell or candies. So,
yeah, it's kind of interesting to think about how different Scarlet and Violet speedrunning is if you couldn't BLJ right here.
Ooh, come on, there we go.
Because it would mean every category has to go to Lavencia instead.
Yeah, I mean, that's what early routes used to do, and I want to say it was Garfield the Lightning is the one who came up with this route, which, like I said, has been used basically ever since.
Yeah, I think Garf found it for Path of Legends, and then was surprised when we were using it for all the other categories as well.
Yeah, it just turns out that the even though like Lavencia is right there on our right, there are generally faster ways to get there, and it's just really beneficial to go this top route. There's a rare candy up here. I just picked up a full restore as well as a TM. The TM you don't always pick up, depending on the category, but... And then we're going to jump here, and then this is just enough to get the fly point for Zapapico, which we're going to fly to the other side of. Especially on Switch 2, flying is super fast. EXP candies, and then it's time for Ratio Rock. All right, overall pretty tame Ratio Rock. The Switch 2 added... Okay, Dynam... Actually, Spider, you might know this. Where's the X accuracy? Is it this one? Yes, okay. Asked Dynam where there was an X accuracy earlier, yesterday. And they mentioned it, and I was like, I know where that is, and then I completely forgot until just now. All right. Oh, there's a Snom. Almost didn't see it. Alright, and then I'm going to do something kind of interesting here. So, I already did this earlier with a rare candy. But essentially, if you fall while not on Koraidon, you get this prompt that allows you to go back up. And so, you can still do things while you're down there, like pick up an item, or in this case, tag a Pokemon Center. And the game will keep that in mind. It's not like it's a like load your previous save kind of moment. It is quite literally just, all right, let me bring you back up to where you were. And so we can use that to tag that Pokemon Center. That Pokemon Center is going to be the way that we get to Lavencia, as well as Cascarafa later on. So it's pretty nice. And then we can just sort of continue our movement from there.
That is Fathra.
That is Pathra was... I don't know what. We all praise the Switch 2 because especially for this game, it has made it so much better. But because they made the game run quite a bit better, they also made it so it spawns a lot more Pokemon. So I was actually surprised that our Ratio Rock was empty of Pokemon, because when I did it yesterday, it was full of Pokemon.
Yeah, the other interesting side thing that I don't know if this is actually accurate, but from anecdotal, it seems like it has, is that with the extra spawns, you're actually seeing more of the rare spawns as well. Because before a lot of the spawn slots would be dedicated towards the pack spawns. And so then they would eat up a lot of the slots, so you wouldn't actually get as many opportunities to see the rare spawns. And so as I'm running through on Switch 2, I'm constantly like, huh, you don't see that all the time, and now it just, you do see it semi-frequently for various spawns.
All right.
What are we doing here?
Oh, yeah, so this is the final gym in the game, so I'm going to go ahead and fight it. No. So it just so happens that like some of these gyms are on our path, and every gym you have to start the challenge, which I'm actually going to do here. Just the way it works out pathing wise, it's fine to do here. Kind of gets out some of the boring stuff, but you basically will you have to go into every gym to trigger the gym challenge. Then you typically have to leave the gym, do the challenge, and then when you go back to the gym is when you're actually going to face the gym leader. So for a lot of these where the gym is like on the path that we're taking now, we're going to start the gym challenge, and we're probably not going to actually do it. In this case, I am. But the next gym we go to, actually, we're just going to leave the challenge until like an hour and a half into the run. Because it just works out pathing wise. So this challenge here is interesting in concept, but I don't like the way it's done in practice. Basically, it is this slalom course. You get penalized 5 seconds every time you miss a gate. You have a minute 30 to get down. And even with missing all these gates, we're going to finish with like a minute with over 30 seconds left. So that is all about just taking the fastest lines and making sure Koraidon kind of has like I'm going down or I'm turning as his two modes. And you just want to make sure he's going as fast as possible. All right. So now we're going to head, that is gym number 8 in terms of levels. This is going to be gym number 6, but it's actually the gym we're going to be doing last. This is the double battle gym. It's also the ghost gym. And the way the routing works, it just makes sense to do last. Actually, more so because we're going to be buying vitamins. And it just makes more sense to buy vitamins here because it's one of the only places that has a shop that you can buy vitamins, but also to buy them after the final gym, because that's when you have the most money and the most stuff to sell. So we're going to start that puzzle. Whoops, I'm not going to fly. And then we're going to probably the most lucrative area of the game when it comes to experience candies. So you may have noticed that every candy I'm grabbing, it's either a rare candy, usually a pack of medium candies. So nice ice stone, by the way. So it'll be like experience candy M times 2 or times 3. And then every other one has been a single L candy. With the exception of this, for some reason, that is 3 L candies.
Yeah, they when it came out, we were first doing candy hunts. We were originally looking to try to find an XL candy somewhere, and so it turns out there isn't one, but there is the 3 Ls, which is the same thing as an XL, and actually saves us menuing slightly, so it is better. But yeah, very interesting that they decided to just put that one there.
All right, I failed this jump like 3 times yesterday, so I wasn't even dashing. I wasn't even dashing.
I don't think I've failed that on Switch 2 yet.
Oh wait, it's faster to fly back. Yeah, so there's one rare candy here. I'm gonna keep doing this until I get clothed. One rare candy on this. You're meant to have high jump, I think. I don't think you're supposed to be able to, or I don't think they intended you to do that with only dash. But if you just jump early enough, you don't lose your speed. And it all works out. And then here's the first actual gym we're going to be facing. This is the grass gym. Brassius is the gym leader. And I believe level-wise, this is meant to be your second gym.
Yeah, it's like a 2-level difference between Brassius and Katie, I think.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and use all of my experience candies. So here we're going to be evolving from Sandile into Krokorok. And as cool as it is, Krokorok is going to be pretty short-lived because we're going to immediately evolve into Crocodile.
Yeah, that is one definitely unfortunate thing about Scarlet and Violet speedruns is we never actually see the middle stages.
Yeah. And then after this, because they allow you to just sort of learn your level up moveset at will, we're going to go to the move relearner, which is just our bag, and then learn our moveset for almost the entirety of this run. which is going to be Thrash, Earthquake, and Crunch. Thrash is actually not as... So one of the reasons why Thrash is really good in general for a speedrun is it is a move that you can select twice, you can select once, but it gets used twice. Thrash is a move where it's 120 base power, and it goes for 2 to 3 turns, and after those 2 to 3 turns, your Pokemon gets confused. So as long as you use it like with only 2 Pokemon left, you can basically guarantee that you're selecting one move, and selecting one move, those 2 Pokemon will die, or faint, I guess, get knocked out, and you won't have to worry about like getting confused. This game, because of animations and stuff, if you happen to get confused after the second turn, you still will get confused even though the battle is over. So it's less good than it has been in the past, but it's still a pretty good move. And I mean, it's 120 base power. It's like super powerful. So, whoops, come on, don't. All right, being a bit careful there because you could talk to the vending machine instead. One of my favorite memories of this game. Oh, go ahead.
Notable thing, real quick, while you were doing your movement or your level ups and move relearns, is that you chose to keep both Bite and Crunch. Not that you needed all 4 slots, but figured it would be worth mentioning that.
Yeah, that is actually done for 2 reasons. The first is because animations are turned off, or turned on rather, and there's no way to turn them off. A lot of times it's not necessarily what move is like the best one to click on any given fight. It's more what move is the fastest animation, especially with this high level, right? We could use any move against all of Brastis's Pokemon. He's level 17 at most. So we could use any move and they will all KO. But some moves have faster animations than others. So Bite, generally speaking, the lower the power of the move, the faster the animation is. It's not always the case, but it's a good rule of thumb. So even though we've got Bite and Crunch, which kind of do the same thing, Bite is going to be useful on fights like this because we don't have to worry about the longer move animations. The other reason Bite is useful is because Bite has the ability to flinch, which for the most part we're going to be one-shotting everything, but there are some Pokemon, including one on this battle, that have Sturdy. And so we're going to be biting those, attempting to get 30% flinch. If we get them, it's a nice little time save. If we don't get it, it's not the end of the world. So.
I assume that Sudowoodo consistently goes for Trailblaze against you?
Yes. So getting this flinch is probably the best one of the 3 to get, because Trailblaze comes along with a little cutscene as well, and a stat animation.
Yeah, when I did the TAM that I did for this month, when I did Greninja, and my way around the sturdy ones was to Water Shuriken.
Oh.
I don't remember if I used loaded dice or not, but I was certainly considering it.
That's actually a good thing to point out. So this month that we are talking about with... I did not get the flinch. Okay. This month we were talking about was April 2024. There were 3 people who finished a run. It was myself with Crocodile, Spider had Greninja, and Trivaria used Samurott. And we all got between like a 215 and a 219 on
nice
Switch 1.
Anger point.
I got anger pointed? Oh my god. I wasn't paying attention because I was looking at the leaderboard.
I'm glad you had +6 attack for the Sudowoodo with 1 HP.
1 HP, yeah. I think I've done 2 runs of this because I did a run yesterday and then obviously the run back in April of last year. I think that is the first anger point I've seen. That's really funny. But yeah, we all got between 215 and 219 on Switch 1, which Switch 2 saves a decent chunk of time. I actually don't know... What's the record now on Switch 2 for just normal Victory Road? Is it sub 2?
Victory Road is 212. No, that's Switch 1. 158.
158, okay. So it saves 14 minutes, roughly. All right, so we're going to head to Levincia. Levincia is where the third gym, level-wise, is, with Iono, the electric-type gym leader. In a lot of categories, especially categories where you have to do, like, any percent, for example, where you're doing all of the different badges, you tend to approach Iono from the desert area, East Province Area 3, I believe it is, rather than coming at it from this side. But because we don't have to be there for Orthworm, we can just come at it from this side and it ends up being a bit faster. There used to be a route that would fly to Zapapico and do this like really rough river jump to get to Levincia first, and then you would basically go to Artisan the way that we were earlier. But it turns out this way is actually faster.
That's the route you did for the GDQ run, right?
Yeah, that's the route I did for GDQ run. I spent a lot of time practicing that jump. And so now that it is useless, feels kind of bad, but that's okay. We also grabbed some quick balls. I did mention we're going to be catching something in a little bit as sort of our partner. So it's there are a few places where quick balls are just chilling on the ground, and that just is the best one. All right, so here's Iono's gym challenge. This gym challenge is a combination of just like normal battles as well as a Where's Waldo style minigame. There are 3 places we have to find Mr. Walksabout, who looks suspiciously like our principal director at
He's
school.
not even disguised. I don't think you can say suspiciously looks like.
But why does he have a different name?
I don't know. Because Iono named him.
Listen, I haven't read the dialogue in this game since my first playthrough. All right, so where is Mr. Walksabout? Found him.
Nice. One down.
Whew.
It'd be really funny if they just like randomized his location on these, but
I know.
Unfortunately, it is the same spot every time.
All right. So this first battle here only has 1 Pokemon. So while some moves will have faster animations, there's also this trade-off of like, how long does it take to like? So this game allows for turbo, and so there's also this trade-off of like, is menuing to select a different move going to be, or menuing to select a different move with a faster animation going to be faster than just using the move that your cursor is already on with a slower animation. And so a lot of times you'll see me just spamming Crunch, even though Bite probably would kill and be faster. It's just, it's just a consequence of like my cursor's already there, and it's probably going to take me longer to menu to it than it would be for me to just turbo straight through. But this is going to be our first use of Thrash. We'll see if we get a 2 or a 3 turn Thrash. Even though there's only 2 Pokemon, we would like to get 3-turn Thrash just so we don't get confused at the end. Thrash also happens to be probably one of the highest base power to time of animation like ratios in the game. It is actually a very fast animation for being such a high base power move.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that you don't even need to select it the second time just makes it such a good move when you can get away with using it.
Yeah, so there I did get confused, so lost a little bit of the time it would have saved, but that's okay.
The other thing that's notable about that trainer is that the Flaffy has a random ability that can be static. So in this case, unless we wanted to EQ it, we didn't have an option, but we could have been static by it.
I'm a ground type.
I thought you could still get paralyzed by static as ground.
All right, maybe you can.
You not?
I actually don't know.
Okay, someone look that up. yeah, Drillbur can. So, because black and white.
Fair.
ETS would be all over us if he was right here.
All right. So Iono has 4 Pokemon. Nothing too notable here. We're going to be using Thrash to finish out the fight. Again, hoping for a 3-turn Thrash. This fight is actually... So, obviously, pretty much every run of this game is going to get a ton of rare candies and come into, especially these lower level gyms, superbly over leveled. Like, there's no reason not to go up to the mountains to get those candies when you have to fly there later anyways, right? But we've kind of looked at some other like ways of playing the game where it's like limiting the amount of candies you have or something like that. And this gym is actually a fairly difficult gym if you are not supremely over leveled. The Miss Magus at the end has Levitate and ends up terastallizing into electric type. So it is a Pokemon with 0 weaknesses, which is a pretty interesting thing for them to do, especially on the 3rd gym of the game.
Sorry, Tucker.
Alright.
The downside of this terastallization is that while Iono is getting rid of her weaknesses, she's also getting rid of her immunity to normal types.
Yes.
So we can just thrash this.
That is actually going to come into play on a different fight as well. We're going to use a move that would otherwise be immune. So after this, we're going to go ahead and start another gym challenge, but not finish it. We got confused again. We've lost 2 coin flips.
Yeah, one of our other categories was basically the same thing except Starfall Street. And I did Dojorio as my TAM for one of my TAMs for Starfall, and I was using Thrash there, and I think I got confused like every single time.
Oh my god. But yeah, so we are finally going to use a Pokemon that is not Crocodile in a battle coming up. We have to fight our rival before the 3rd gym, after the 5th gym, and before the 7th gym. And it turns out that this game continues the trend that I believe started in Generation 7, where some rival battles you do not actually have to win. you can decide to lose them. So turns out it is faster, much faster to lose a battle on turn 1 than it is to sit through 3 Pokemon and have a terrestrialization animation at the end. So we're going to go ahead and sacrifice our buddy Lechonk, who we caught as part of the catch tutorial. But first we have to actually get there.
6 is the only one you're actually required to beat. All of the other Nemona fights you can choose to lose.
Yeah, and it might be like a question as to, oh, do we want to fight this or not, if experience mattered. But because there are so many candies everywhere, like, even the experience isn't going to matter. So... but for safety reasons, I am going to go ahead. It would be optimal for me to have menued like in the gym still, but there are enough random Pokemon around that if I ran into something with a level 3 Lechonk in my party,
that cave is so much more dangerous now, as
yeah.
well on Switch 2.
And especially like the graphics look a little bit nicer, but a side effect of that is some Pokemon like don't stand out as much. Like the Salandits on the ground. They blend in so much now. I feel like they didn't used to.
I think Greavards are easier to see on Switch too. But
I agree with that.
Salandits, are definitely way harder to see.
Alright. So we're gonna go ahead and face Nemona here. And then we're gonna start the gym battle, or the gym challenge, but we're actually gonna leave. A lot of routes will... like, especially if you know the any % route of this game, you actually will do things roughly the same order that we did here, but you'll actually fight Larry before leaving. The main reason I'm not fighting Larry now is because there are still a couple more rare candies that I want to pick up and use before I fight Larry. And so I'm actually going to take advantage of the fact that while the gym is kind of here in the middle of town, the place where you do the gym challenge is right next to the place where you fly. So we're going to leave here, go pick up more rare candies and stuff, and when we fly back, we just happen to be right next to where the gym challenge is, which is super convenient.
You have been crit again?
I have been crit again. This time, no anger point. Crocodile is in the box at +6.
Got anger point.
Now the Crocodile is in the box with +6 attack now. My friend got crit. I am mad. Alright, so I have to remember to actually... These areas where like Nemona interrupts you, it's really easy to forget to actually start the gym challenge. And you just leave and you haven't actually started it yet. Alright. We're going to bring out Crocodile again. Whoops. And we're going to continue on toward Cascarafa. I'm going to take kind of a weird path here. I want to pick up some extra healing items. This game has a really cool mechanic where it allows you to auto-heal by opening your menu and hitting the minus button. But you need enough healing items in order to do so. And I haven't run out yet, but I feel like I get close. So I'm just going to grab an extra one just in case.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing about the auto heal is it'll only use certain healing items. It needs to be a healing item that heals a flat amount of HP and doesn't do anything else. So like it won't use berries, it won't use bitter items, and it won't use max potions. So there are, if you do want to take advantage of auto heal, you have to be sure to pick up certain items or certain healing items.
Yeah, so I picked up like a couple of super potions. It's actually one of the nice things about auto heal versus normal healing is a lot of times you'd be like, I don't want to use my super potions because what if I need to heal like 100 health, right? Then I have to use one item twice, and that's kind of slow. It doesn't matter when you're auto healing, it's just going to use whatever the optimal like configuration of healing items is. So you can pick up as many super potions as you want, and if later on you have to heal 200 health, like the game will just do it in a single item use, basically. All right. So now we are looking for one specific Pokemon, which I see 5 of them. Which one do we want? Let's use this guy. He looks like the little guy. We're going to use that Quick Ball. So Rufflet is going to be our partner. Rufflet is good for 2 main reasons. The first reason is that he needs to be a Pokemon that is good against Bug-type Pokemon. And Rufflet, being a flying type, is good against bugs. The other thing is because he's flying, when I use him in double battles, I'm allowed to Earthquake without hitting my partner. So we haven't seen, I don't think, any Earthquakes yet, but Earthquake is definitely the best move from Crocodile. So we want to make sure we're getting as much use out of it as we can. I also did forget to do something after Iono. I just realized. So I'm going to actually, I think after this, fly back to Levincia.
I'm trying to think of what that is.
I need a Delibird Presence item.
Okay. That makes sense, yeah.
Me saying Earthquake and then being like, oh, the thing that makes Earthquake better, I don't have.
I wasn't sure if Muscle Band was good enough for your purposes.
Honestly, it might be. But I did
that
route
one
it
you
with
can
Soft
just pick
Sand.
up for free in Cascarafa.
Alright, let's see if I can do this. How washed am I? Very.
Very. There we go.
Alright.
I feel like that's easier on Switch 2 as well.
I agree. I've only tried it 3 times on Switch 2 and I got it twice, so. I'm using my candies after this, so I can just quickly fly. Well, actually, let me double check something.
Quickly fly would not be possible on Switch 1.
Well, okay, it's only in Levincia. I was gonna say there's a Delibird presence in Cascarafa, but it doesn't sell the soft sand. So. Crit me, do it. Darn.
Give another chance. Maybe the launcher.
If they both Aqua Jet me, I swear.
I see double Aqua Jet frequently from these guys.
I know. Oh my god.
Yeah.
The only way this could get worse. Come on, do it.
Well, I mean, you didn't get Anchor Point, so it could have been worse.
I got confused anyways.
Actually, if you are already +6, can you get Anchor Point proc again?
I actually don't know. You probably don't get the stat animation, but you probably... It probably goes like, oh, you're already at max or whatever. Can't go any higher.
That would be a funny fight. Double Aqua Jet, double double crit, and then confused.
All right. So this is Kofu's gym challenge. We are going to basically have to win this auction. The auction's always the same every time. So as long as you pick the same options, you can have the same result. So there is an optimal option that leaves you with the most money, because even though he gives you 50,000 Poké Dollars to auction with, you get to keep whatever is left over.
What is the most you can spend?
Great question.
If you do this suboptimally, how much do you end up spending?
I would guess 45,000, but I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
You know, I could have gotten lucky If I had picked up sparkling spots in a Sato Desert, I could have found a soft sand.
True. Should add that to the route.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun reset point. Oh, I didn't get any soft sand reset.
All right. Luckily, the soft sand is just the mash A button here. So very fast detour. All right. I forgot the correct movement here when you don't have climb, so I'm just going to do this because this might be correct. It's just, I tried to climb yesterday, I didn't have it, and I was like, oh, that's right.
You can just jump over in the corner.
Yeah.
You don't need climb to get over the corner, and then, yeah, you take the lift up.
All right, and then we're going to do our last candy dump, actually, of the run. Once we get in here. So I should have one... I'm going to deposit my Rufflet. And then I should have one large candy. We're going to give the soft sand. We are going to use 12 rare candies, and now I'm level 65.
It's very interesting how 65 just ends up being the level that a lot of Scarlet and Violet runs end up going to.
Yeah. Like, any percent you go a lot higher, but it's mostly because you have the Area 0 section that you have to do. And it's like, you also... Like, something that's kind of interesting about all the different single story runs is the fact that you are going from... Like, the areas you go in Path of Legends are different than the areas you have to go in Starfall Street, which are different than the areas you have to go in Victory Road. So, like, in Starfall Street, that whole Bamboo Forest area, like, you can pick up the items over there for free because you have to go to the fighting base anyways. But in a Victory Road run or a Path of Legends run, that would be pointless to go over there. So it just sort of turns out that, like, all these single stories end up around that 65 level. But then in any percent, you have to go everywhere anyways. And with Area 0 stuff, you know, you end up getting into the 80s in that run.
Notable thing is that here you're still getting a lot of XP, so you're going to end up 65. In Starfall Street, you're not getting XP for most of the fights. So if you candy to 65, you're staying at 65.
All right. Small little optimization here. We're actually going to use Earthquake against the Wug Trio. Wug Trio has an ability that I forget what it's called, but it's...
Sticky? Gooey?
Gooey, something like that. It does something if you hit it with a contact move. So we're just going to use Earthquake.
Or is your speed?
Is our only non-contact move. And then we're going to thrash this.
Yeah, the contact one is interesting, especially for, I mean, most physical attacks are contact, and most special attacks are not contact. But then there's a few you have to watch out for, like, if you're using a Pokemon with a Grass Knot, don't use that, because that actually is a contact move for some reason. And then a lot of fighting mons do definitely have issues, or physical mons do definitely have issues avoiding contact moves, which can be difficult for a couple of the categories, depending on what you're fighting. So, like, the Wug Trio here, avoiding that one, avoiding the static on the Lux or on the Flaffy, and then in Starfall, avoiding Effect Spore on the Among Us.
Yep. All right, so we are done with 3 badges now. We're going to go ahead and fight Larry. I Larry's gym puzzle is essentially you're supposed to go. Oh my god! Please, between. Thank you. Larry's gym puzzle. You're supposed to go around town and figure out what the secret ingredients are. There are battles, and each battle you win, you'll get an answer that you're supposed to do here. The answers don't change, so you can just go into this if you know the answer and spam them. I actually have kind of like mixed feelings as to whether or not I want this to be randomized. It would be interesting to have to go around and fight some of those extra battles, but at the same time, the optimal strategy would probably be like fight 2 of them and brute force the rest.
Yeah, I mean, especially because 2 of them only have 3 options. So
yeah,
I think brute forcing would you'd brute force one of them at least.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and then this is a pretty straightforward fight. But we are going to get to do something that is one of my favorite things to do from back in the Oras days. We're going to earthquake a bird.
Yeah, once again, giving up an immunity by terroring. These leaders are not picking the best terror turns.
Especially knowing who your opponent is. Like, you're against a ground type. Like, don't Terra away your
flying. And on Iono, you're already locked into Thrash.
Yeah. Yeah, funny enough, Larry is the only gym leader that Terras into a type that his Pokemon already is. Which is a little bit of foreshadowing. Because, spoiler, for this 3-year-old game, Larry is one of the Elite Four members, and the Elite Four members will all use a Pokemon that is already that type and Terra into that type. So if you happen to pick up on it before you get there, you could be like, hey, Larry was different than everyone else.
It's because Larry's the best.
Larry is great. And it has what might be the single longest turn in every Pokemon game. Where are the Croc's feet? Listen, they clip into the ground. I don't know what to tell you. This was actually a conversation. So I lost my route for this. And so the past like 2 days I found the VOD of my run and I went through and wrote down everything I did. And we had a conversation in that run about how the crocodile's feet clip into the ground. Which is really funny in the Elite Four, because the Elite Four has kind of like this, where it's like got a circle on the ground. And that circle is not on the floor. So you can actually see like part of the crocodile's foot between the paint of the circle and the ground. If we remember, I'll point it out when we get there.
Someone pin a message. Where are his feet for an hour?
All right, we're gonna get one of my favorite little interactions after this fight. So it's a very silly thing. I don't know why it's one of my favorites, but it really is. So the way that the cutscenes when you enter gyms work is every time you enter a gym with a different number of gyms defeated, you will get like the intro cutscene. And every time you beat a gym, you get like an outro cutscene, basically. So when we entered Glaciato Gym at the very start of the run, we got a little cutscene that was like, oh, you know, Nemona's like, hey, you found your first gym, blah, blah, blah. This is technically the first time we are entering a gym after getting 3 badges. So this is the intro cutscene for the 4th gym. And immediately after it, we're going to get sucked into the outro cutscene for the 4th gym. Early on, when we were trying to route the game, this was a situation I thought of, and I was like, oh, we can probably skip the intro cutscene so we can skip one of the Nemona fights. No, you get sucked into a Nemona fight here if you do it with the 3rd or 7th gym. See, we just got teleported away. Larry's is the only gym that you start the gym battle not in the gym building. So It's the only opportunity to have something like this happen. It would have been really cool speed tech if it worked, but it does not, unfortunately. All right. So now we've kind of done all of the gyms in the areas that we've flown to, except for the super high level ones that we would like to do later. So we're going to go ahead and do a bit of movement here to get to actually the first gym. Listen. I'm good at it, I guess.
Okay, I mean, I guess. I think if you are good at it, it is slightly faster. I haven't typed it on Switch 2, though.
Yeah. In the spirit of the rest of the movement of the game, we are going to the Pokemon League to get the Fly Point. To then go to Cortando to fight Katie. Yeah. Normally on this path, you would also pick up the Adamant Mint, because it just happens to be in one of the little farms here. But our Crocodile, I guess I didn't mention. So the Crocodile's going to have perfect stats, so 31 IVs across the board, except for special attack because it doesn't matter, and is an Adamant nature. So because we're already Adamant, we don't have to pick up the Adamant Mint, and we can just leave. And it turns out there's no better nature for us. The only other one that you might be able to argue would be some kind of plus speed, but we have ways to mitigate our speed problems later on, so we're just not going to worry about that. All right.
Yeah, I've definitely done runs where you end up changing to a plus speed nature for literally the final fight, which is always kind of weird to do, but
that's the any percent can do that, and Victory Road does that. You go to Hasty literally for the final fight. It's generally because like a lot of runs want to use Fuecoco as your starter, and by choosing Fuecoco as your starter, it means your rival at the very end of the game has Meowscarada, and Meowscarada is like the fastest thing outside of Area 0. So, or fastest opponent Pokemon, I guess I should say. I'm sure there are fastest
thing outside Area 0 is going to be this olive roll.
Oh god, my olive roll yesterday was atrocious. Also, these black screens, I swear, are longer on Switch 2, and they're scary.
Terrifying.
Yeah. I also have the superstition that if you're holding the turbo button during the black screen, like it's going to cause it to crash or something. So I always hands off the controller.
So Grizzly and Violent speedrunners are very superstitious.
Yeah. All right. Good. This is going fine. Yeah.
Not
bad. B+. Oh yeah, don't hold the controller. Don't want it to crash. Well, there is a, not Pokemon, but the game Chrono Cross, there is a particular cutscene where it is possible to soft lock the game, and the way people seem to avoid it is by not mashing during a cutscene. So I've sort of brought that here, and I'm like, I feel like if I mash during that black screen, it's longer.
I mean, it's like the fight in Usum where
oh my god,
wait so the game doesn't crash.
Wait for Mississippi's, then use your X attack or X special. All right. So we did our olive roll. We are going to go ahead and fight Katie. Katie is the 5th gym leader, and you may have noticed that I swapped away from my Crocodile, breaking the rules of the category. that doesn't exist. And yeah, it's basically because the 5th gym that you fight, there's always an Nemona fight after. It's the only time that there's a Nemona battle after a gym instead of before. And it unfortunately is, you don't have a chance to menu between. So what pretty much every run that does the gyms will do is use a low-level Pokemon that is high enough level to handle the gym, but is low enough level to be one-shot by Nemona's Pokemon. And so we kind of all came to an agreement that, like, this is okay. Everyone is going to do it. Everyone can be on the same playing field. And we don't have to worry about, you know, actually winning this battle, which makes us win the next battle. It's just, it would just inflate the times for no real benefit. So because this is sort of an option that every main Pokemon would have, we kind of allow it.
And honestly, it makes the category more interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just one more fight that you're doing with your overleveled Pokemon. And here you're actually doing a bit of a... And there is a little bit of options here. Because like you could use Growlithe instead of Rufflet if for some reason that worked better for your route.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And the way I kind of like to think about it is like... And this would never work like on an actual leaderboard, but there's kind of like a spirit of the category, right? The spirit of the category is I'm using Crocodile as my starter Pokemon, as my main Pokemon throughout the game. To me, this doesn't really break the spirit of the category because you would do this for any main Pokemon. Like, there isn't a single main Pokemon you would actually choose to fight this gym with and fight Nemona with. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Gengar.
So, all right, well... Whatever. Fair, okay. But yeah, like for the most part, like this is still to me within the spirit of the category, but it's obviously like you can't you can't in the rules be like don't break the spirit of the category. That doesn't really work. So yeah.
For reference, one of the other previous categories was Scarlet Violet, any % / treasure hunt, obedient caps. So you could only level your Pokemon past where obedience would be if you had the number of gym badges. And so I ran the Trade Hauntykins, which evolves into Gengar. And I actually forgot about one of the Nemona fights. And I was like, oh, dang it, I'm just in the fight, and I have to beat it. And then I looked at my moveset, and I had Curse. And I was like, wait a second.
So the real optimal main would have Memento, and just Memento every... Oh, now I want to route one of them. Who has Memento?
You have, like, 6 Scarlet Violet routes that you owe.
Oh, trust me. That is the other tab I have in Notepad right now. Is all of those and then what look to be random strings of characters, which I'm guessing are passwords that I didn't want to... I don't even know what those are to, so...
That's... Yep, I love having Notepad docs that are just 0 context strings.
Yeah. I owe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 runs.
I did not realize it had gotten that high.
They'll happen eventually. Wiggly Victory Road is one of them.
That's the one I submitted.
I think,
good luck with that one.
Yeah, you know, good luck with that one is, I think it was Crisis submitted Ogerpon Victory Road. So
that's just mean.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So we are now going to make our way up to Alfornada. One of the problems with Alfornada in categories where you're not fighting all of the Titans is you kind of have to take the quote-unquote intended path instead of just climbing up the side of the cliff. And it is quite a long path around the seaside and then through Alfornada Cavern. And it all starts with this kind of tricky river jump River Jump. This category loves its river jumps. But we're going to bring Crocodile back first. In true CatEx Expo fashion, my cat currently has the zoomies and is running around the house.
Nice. I'm currently cat sitting. I haven't seen her today, so hopefully she's doing all right.
That's not going to work. You know what? It did. We'll take it. Grab this potion. Definitely will be useful. Another TM to pick up. Pretty much every TM that we're picking up throughout this run, and pretty much any Scarlet and Violet run, is going to be sold. There are a number of different pickups that you can do on the ground. There aren't a lot of good like money items on the ground, I think I've noticed. Like it's not like your traditional Pokemon game where there's like nuggets everywhere. I mean, they are everywhere, but they're just not like on the main path. The best kind of money items we get are like, there's a rare bone up here, which is 2,500.
I think most of the money items got relegated to sparkling items.
Yeah.
So that they'd be farmable to a degree.
Yeah, so there's a rare bone, and actually the other kind of money item that we'll be picking up, this is the only one of them I pick up in this run. I've done other routes where I've picked up more, is actually vitamins sell for a good amount. So there's a zinc. They sell for like what, 5,000? Because they sell for half of what they cost.
Sounds right.
All right, so here's Alfrenata Cavern. This place got the Switch 2 buff. Like this, there are so many Pokemon in this area. Specifically in that first area, because there's like nothing here.
Yeah, there's definitely some areas where the game will front load spawns, and so once you get past them, you're in the clear. But
and yesterday, the end of this area had a lot, but this is looking pretty tame. Yeah, just a Pupitar. I'm so used to running Expedition 33 lately, where all of the enemies are like static. Like they're always in the same spots, so it's easy enough to
come
avoid
after
them.
you.
Well, yeah.
Good luck getting through the cave if all the Pokemon ran after you.
All right. So this is gym number 6. Canonically, this is, or level-wise, this is supposed to be the 7th gym. So we actually, even though we kind of do the gyms in a wacky order, the last 3 gyms are the last 3 gyms that you're supposed to do level-wise. So we're going to fight this. This is Tulip's gym. She is the Psychic type gym leader. And her gym challenge is a gym challenge for the ages. Welcome to ESP, the Emotional Spectrum Practice.
Correct. Tulip is supposed to be the 7th gym leader.
Did I say 6th?
You said in order.
Oh, yeah.
For the last 3.
Well, I think what I was trying to say is the last 3 we fight are supposed to be the last 3. It's just we do them in the wrong order. Yeah. My favorite thing about this, so this is the ESP. ESP, there are 10 rounds. It's basically like click the correct face button in 3 seconds or something. In round 1, there are 10 different prompts, and you only have to get 2 of them correct. And then in round 2, there are 15 prompts, and you have to get 5 of them correct. Shout out to New Amber for figuring that out for us. Pretty early on, but it was one of those things everyone was like, yeah, you definitely can get some of them wrong, but I don't want to spend the time to figure it out. And so Amber actually sat down and figured it out for us. Essentially, the way it works is I believe you get the first 7 things for free. And then every 2 after that, you have to get at least 1 right in order to pass it. So like, if you haven't done any by the 7th one, you will fail. So you have to get 1 in the first 7, and then you have to get 2 in the first 9, 3 in the first 11, and so on, up to 15.
You've been frisked. What are you going to do?
I know. What's going to end up happening is I'm going to get traced on this next one. I did not get frisked. Or traced. Very cool.
Yeah, in addition to having random abilities, these Pokemon also have random natures for some reason.
Yes.
Which caused some issues at the time when we discovered it, and then we were talking about it in Switch PSR, and then Shen's like, yeah, I knew that, guys. Thanks, Shen.
That's kind of the way this... That's how, like, some Pokemon goes, where it's like... No one's, like, withholding information, but somebody will, like, figure something out that they assume is public knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And then it isn't public knowledge. And so it's like, ah, crap. I've definitely had that happen. Alright, that should be all 5. It's kind of funny, you don't have to... There is a penalty for getting too many correct in terms of time, because like the little circle thing will pause when you get one correct, but if you get one wrong like this, there is no penalty. So you can just sit here and mash them all.
Every time I see this, over the time at the GDQ practice room, I came into the practice room and you were in the middle of the run. You're like, hey, check out this new tech that I just found. You hit them all 4 at once, that just works. And then you did it, and it just did not work.
Yeah. That was funny. Because I think it was like, I want to say it was Wave Warrior came in and was like, why don't you just mash them all? And I was like, oh, that works. And then turns out it didn't. Or it does work, but like you have to stagger them. So if you just sit there and mash all 4, like at once, it won't work. But if you like use your index fingers or whatever and do all of them, it will. I was supposed to thrash this. Crunch is still gonna kill. But because I didn't thrash, I should just crunch this next one too.
It rolled minus defense.
Ah, true. Yeah, one of the downsides of Turbo. It is very easy to accidentally just Turbo through. Especially, it got worse on Switch 2, I'm saying it. The game accepts more inputs now because there are more frames. There are more frames. Alright, so unlike Iono's gym puzzle, you only have to do 2 sections here instead of 3. I don't know why. It's almost the exact same format where it's like a little puzzle / mini game into a battle. So it's the exact same as Iono's gym, but for some reason it ends after 2 instead of doing 3. So
they didn't want to subject us to 3 ESPs.
Yeah. All right. So Tulip's gym, even though we are a dark type with good dark type moves, we are actually going to spam Earthquake on this fight. Even though like Crunch and Bite are faster animations than Earthquake is, there is a little bit of extra like lag because of a text box when you use a super effective move. Kind of like pretty much every Pokemon game has that sort of thing, so it ends up being a little bit better to just Earthquake this.
Yeah, I think super effective and crit text boxes are about a second.
So crit text box lingers way too long.
Okay. Well, especially with Anchor Point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, if the extra second that a super effective adds offsets the animation difference, then it is sometimes worth it to use a different move.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact details here because, like I said, I did route this a year and a half ago, but I believe Bite isn't enough to KO things. Crunch is. Obviously, except for that Gardevoir. I want to say the Gardevoir because it's neutral instead of being super effective. You actually need to Earthquake that, and so because of that, it's like you don't want to crunch, go down to Earthquake, go back up to crunch, and all that kind of stuff. So it ends up being better to just do it this way. All right. So after this, we have another Nemona battle. And the next two gyms that we're doing, it's going to be the Ice-type gym leader, Grusha, followed by the Ghost-type gym leader, Rhyme. Those are the two gyms that I've already started the challenge for. In fact, I've already done the challenge for the Ice-type gym. So it's going to be a pretty quick 1-2 punch here. Although the Ghost gym is anything but quick, let's be honest.
You got an Earthquake, you'll just go right through it.
Yeah, if only Haunter wasn't levitating and there's a Drift Bloom, and then Mimikyu has Disguise. Like, it's barely save any time, even though you've got a spread move.
Yeah, when I did it, I had Greninja, and I was using Surf for my spread move, which does hit my Rufflet, so I taught it Protect.
So I realized I may have wanted to do that because... I'll explain it when we get there. We'll see if it happens. It's a really stupid mechanic.
There are many stupid mechanics in Rhyme's gym.
Well, I'll just explain it now because we're gonna do something boring, which is let Lechonk die. You get a free heal when you go into the gym, but in order to start the actual, against the battle against Rhyme, you need to have 2 Pokemon alive. But you get a free heal on the way in.
Yeah.
But they need to be alive in order for you to trigger it. It's so stupid. Because my Rufflet ended dead because I actually got self-destruct from the Drift Bloom. But I couldn't start the Rhyme battle until I revived, so...
Yeah, that one.
It might actually be better.
A weird interaction.
Yeah.
The Protect animation is weirdly slow, though. So actually,
you wouldn't want to spam it, but...
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, this is Nemona. Once we get to Grusha, Grusha has, if my past self on my VOD is to be believed, has the only range in the run. I know that's not true because I didn't KO the Cloth earlier. All right. The only range on the Crocodile section, which is the Altaria, I believe it is a 13 and 16 range. So I don't believe it's dangerous to not KO. It's just going to waste time if we don't.
Yeah, the Altaria is not going to have... Oh, it knows Ice Beam. That could hurt a little bit.
I guess I was going to say it wouldn't be Stab, but it will be Stab.
Yeah. Ice Beam Freeze. Ice Beam Freeze crit. Let's get that content.
No.
He'll be +6 attack. What could go wrong?
Yeah, this is meant to be the final gym in terms of levels. Unfortunately, the Pokemon are just a little bit too squishy. They do, especially the Beartic does hit kind of hard, but unfortunately, Ice is just not a very good type. Lots and lots of weaknesses. Oh, we're earthquaking another bird here. I didn't even consider this.
Yet another. Although this one I can forgive the Terra, because going for an Ice Terra against a Crocodile is acceptable.
Is pretty good, yeah. Yeah. right, so we crunch this and we Earthquake everything else. Earthquake is getting boosted by our Soft Sand. I don't think I mentioned we had the whole kerfuffle where I had to go buy it. But I didn't actually explain it. It's Soft Sand is a held item that will boost all of my ground type moves by 20%. So Earthquake essentially becomes 120 base power, which, because of Stab, becomes 180 base power. So it is by far our best move.
Is that Cryogonal in the background always there?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty
really
sure that's
funny.
not, because that is front and center.
That is really funny. Oh, he's going back up. Cool. I got a crit.
There you go.
Could have mattered.
If the Cryogonal comes into Photobomb.
It's there, but it's behind the fence. Darn. Oh, there's another one.
There's two of them now.
It's so funny. I wanted to just pop up again.
Darn, it didn't make it in the picture.
No, but one of the little gimme ghouls is on the snowman's head in that picture. I wonder if that's always there, or if like you actually happen to pick up the gimme ghoul if it's gone. I doubt it's gone. Pokemon did not think that much. All right, so that is 7 gyms down, and we are now going to go to our final gym, the Ghost-type gym. It is a double battles gym. The gym challenge is win 3 battles in a row, which is on the less interesting side of gym challenges. I think overall, I like the gym challenges, and they're like the concept of gym challenges as well as their execution in this game. Especially a lot more than Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield, I thought, had pretty good gym challenges for like the first 3 gyms, and then it kind of falls off after that. I guess first 4 gyms. But this is the only one I would say is... ESP is annoying in a speedrun sense, but it's at least an interesting concept. But this one is just fight battles.
I think the interesting part of this one is supposed to be the crowd reactions.
Yes.
But since we just one-shot everything, then we bypass the interesting part of the challenge.
Yeah. Essentially, after every turn, if you did something good, you get some sort of boost because of crowd reactions. And if the other side did something good, they will get a boost. But yeah, most of these are over in 1 turn. If not 1 turn, then 2 turns. And we're such a high level that these boosts don't really matter. The only sort of interesting thing with it actually comes on the Rhyme battle itself, because Rhyme has 4 Pokemon as opposed to only 2 for all these fights, which means we are forced to have multiple turns. And so a lot of times you will try to like pick your moves, and your strategy is surrounding getting the least number of cutscenes as you can. So there are certain things that can happen to trigger a cutscene. If you KO a Pokemon, there's a cutscene. If you like hit one of Rhyme's Pokemon, but it lives, that can be a cutscene. If you use a super effective move, that's a cutscene. So you're trying to like minimize that kind of stuff. It doesn't really work in this category or this particular main Pokemon, just because of the fact that it just doesn't. I don't know what to say. But so we're gonna bite. I'm gonna use Tailwind to make sure my Rufflet is not dealing damage.
Is that curse consistent?
I've gotten curse, I think, every time. I don't know if it's actually consistent, but it does happen a lot. It's probably better to KO the Haunter and leave the... There was a reason I KO'd the Mischievous first. I forget what it is. It might be because the Mischievous can KO the Rufflet, which would just be some time loss. Although I think you get free heal between.
Yeah, you get free heals between each fight here.
It would have... What levels are these? 40? Payback, Pain Split, Psybeam, and Hex. So... Yeah, it probably would be better to just KO the Haunter. When I definitely do this run again, I will do that. Alright. So once again, I can't use Earthquake because the Driftbloom is a flying type. Ideally, the Driftbloom will self-destruct. It used to be 100% consistent. However... Oh, there we go. The update that introduced the Indigo Disc came with it some double battle AI changes. And that's when we started seeing Life Dew from the Shelter on Cloth. And the Driftbloom will now start using stuff like Stockpile, which is unfortunate because, yeah, being able to rely on that self-destructor is really nice to guarantee a one-turn fight. Alright, so I need to heal my Rufflet, at least make it living, before I can start the actual gym leader battle.
Yeah, one thing that's good is that we just have revives. Nimona gives them to us after one of the gyms. So you don't need to go out of your way to pick up revives to handle this weird situation.
I don't believe you can auto-heal from here, though. Oh. Gym cutscene, sorry. It's the first time I'm entering a gym. With the 7 badges. Okay. Yeah, we can't auto-heal, so we do have to do it this way.
Oh, and I guess one thing that we hadn't talked about is that in addition to move animations being forced on, we're also forced into switch mode. Mm-hmm. And so, like, otherwise you could maybe argue that having a third Pokemon in your party would be good there, because then you don't need to do the revive menu. But if you were to do that, then you would get prompted for switches after every knockout in this fight.
Alright, so in this fight, Earthquake is enough to handle everything. We will get an attack boost after the first turn. Because we've KO'd one of Rhyme's Pokemon, we'll get an attack boost because the crowd liked what we did. That may or may not matter, I actually don't remember. But the unfortunate thing is there is a Mimikyu lead on this fight. Mimikyu has the ability to disguise, which means when you hit it once, it will... it'll just break its disguise and only take 1/8 of its health. It does not actually go down in one hit. So I think I personally think it would break the spirit of the category to do something like a quick attack with your partner to break Disguise and then KO with Earthquake, but I think that would be like the optimal thing to do if the rules allowed for it.
Another one of the categories was Victory Road Baton Pass, and there I did use Aqua Jet on this fight to break the Disguise and then surf through the rest of the fight with my 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, so here's going to be our attack boost. Something that the Victory Road run will do as like the main Victory Road run, not this category, as well as the any percent run will do, is actually KO the Houndstone here, not the Mimikyu. And what that does is that forces Rhyme's Terrestrial Pokemon, the Toxtricity, to come out last but it will come out with a partner. And that skips this cutscene here. This cutscene here will only trigger if Rhyme is sending out Toxtricity as her one final Pokemon. So it ends up not being worth it in this run because the Rufflet will go down. And if the Rufflet goes down, then there's just like a little bit of extra. I think we would get another cutscene here regardless, so. And then this cutscene here always happens because this is essentially her terrestrializing the Toxtricity with the stupid little Grievard. I like Grievard as a Pokemon, but it's such an annoying Pokemon when you're trying to run around and avoid encounters. His Dancy Dance is very cute, but
we just don't
annoying.
Need to see it.
All right. So now we have all 8 gym badges. We can go fight the Pokemon League, but we're going to take a pit stop on the other side of Montenevera first. So I mentioned a lot earlier, we are going to be selling a lot of stuff to get a lot of money so that way we can buy vitamins. Vitamins are a way that we can increase our stats by pumping EVs essentially into the Pokemon. It is uncapped how many you can use. All right, it's capped at the 252 that like EVs are capped at. But like in older Pokemon games, you could only use vitamins up to 100 EVs and then it would just not work anymore. This game doesn't have that. So the goal here is we're going to be getting 15 proteins and 6 carbos. Proteins will increase our attack and carbos will increase our speed. And so we're going to use this as an opportunity to sell all the stuff we've picked up, all the TMs that we picked up, all the money items, all the TMs that we got for beating gym leaders. And then, yeah, that is like one of the main reasons why we do this gym last is because we're already in town for it. I'm going to sell. I'm going to turn off Turbo because this menu sucks with Turbo. Sell that, sell that. I'm only going to sell the TMs that are useful or that are like a lot of money. And then good. Done there. I'm actually going to go to this machine to create a TM. So normally, in order to craft TMs, you need to have picked up like the necessary resources from like KOing wild Pokemon. We actually start the game with enough Mankey Fur to create Low Kick. It is those resources are given to us like in the intro of the game.
Yeah, there's only a few TMs that we start being able to craft, and it's really nice that Low Kick is one of them, because Low Kick is just a highly useful move across many different routes.
Yeah, I think we need it for like 2 Pokemon in this entire route. Actually, probably only 1 Pokemon realistically, but that Pokemon is...
I mean, I suppose you have coverage against Steel types anyway.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go ahead and use all those and then make our way to the Pokemon League. So the important thing that basically the routing behind what vitamins to get, at least the way I approach it, I'm assuming most people will approach it similarly, but I basically get myself enough carbos to outspeed everything that I can without an X speed. So the fastest thing here in the Elite Four is a Noivern. The Noivern has like 163 speed, something like that. So I make sure that when I'm facing Noivern, I am fast enough to outspeed that. And then the rest of the money I have, I put into proteins. And it turns out in this particular run, that should get rid of every range. But sometimes you're doing, especially in runs where you have non-set stats, you're kind of making this balance of like, okay, I need enough proteins that all my ranges are good. So I'm going to lock in here and make sure I answer questions correctly.
This is a cat file?
This is a cat file, yeah. Saves an input. You can pick any gyms there, or any gym there, as long as you're consistent with the leader, the town, and the type of the gym. And it just turns out that the Psychic Gym in Alfornata by Tulip is the fastest way to do that. Least number of inputs.
Brassius an equal number of inputs?
It might be an equal number, yeah. I want to say that's what the Japanese runners do.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Do you like Pokemon? No. And get kicked out.
When's the Kicked by Rika run? It's like a 2-minute run.
I know, because that's one of the funny things is, like, the Pokemon League is right next to Mesagoza, so you can just go here immediately. But you can't actually pass the interview. All right. So another thing that we bought while we were buying our vitamins were X items, specifically X attacks. This is the only place in the run where we have to use those X attacks. Every fight from here to the end will have at least one X attack. There is a fight that has 2. And I also picked up an X accuracy earlier. The X accuracy is because of the very first fight here against Rika. Rika is going to lead a Whiscash. Whiscash's best move against us is, in fact, Muddy Water, which has a 85% accuracy and a 30% chance to lower the accuracy of the opponent. So luckily X items are +2 stages, so even if we get hit by 2 Muddy Waters and accuracy dropped for both, a single X accuracy will sort of fix that for us. But otherwise, it's use the X item that you need, and then click all the correct moves. Which is easier said than done sometimes.
And don't see Protect.
Alright. We got the Muddy Water miss, which is very nice. That also saves us a little bit of time, or potentially will save us a little bit of time. Between each of these battles, we will have to heal. We do have the ability to auto-heal, which is nice, but obviously you still have to go into your menu in order to auto-heal, so if we somehow come out of this fight at full health, that'll be really good. Donphan here has Sturdy, so we're going to use Bite and go for the 30% flinch. Which we did not get, which is fine.
This is the one spot where we were talking about TAM EXP earlier. The gauntlet of fights at the end, because your opponents actually are decently leveled. It wouldn't be that big of a deal to not have the boosted EXP, but it definitely is noticeable when you're doing your routing to have that little bit of extra as you're getting through these fights.
Yeah, I think, let me pull up the thing. I'm level 67 right now. I actually end this run at level 72. So like I was level 65 on my 3rd gym, and I've only gained 2 levels since, and I'm going to gain 5 levels on these last 6 fights. And I got no protect. Very cool. All right. So heading into Poppy. Poppy is the Steel type Elite 4 member, and she will lead a Caporaja. Caporaja has 2 moves that it will potentially use. In my run yesterday, it used Play Rough. In my run from a year and a half ago, it used Heavy Slam. Heavy Slam is by far better. Play Rough can miss, which would be really nice, but it also can drop our attack. And I don't know what to do if it drops our attack. I don't think I KO everything at +1. Actually, I probably do with Earthquake.
Yeah, the Poppy fight is difficult. Basically,
Yes.
no matter what main you're running, you're going to have issues on the Caporaja, the Magnezone, or the Corviknight. Just because the Magnezone has sturdy, the Caporaja is a lead, so you don't have a good chance to set up, and it hits hard. And then the Corviknight is just a pain to get past most of the time.
Alright, I'm dumb. I did the exact same thing that we used to do. Play Rough can't drop our attack because it has sheer force. There was a time where the main Victory Road notes would say like it had like backup strats if you got Play Rough dropped here for the longest time. I'm talking like probably over a year. And it's like that's not a thing that can happen because sheer force gives it's like a 30% boost to any move that has a secondary effect, but the secondary effect doesn't happen. All right. I do live a flash cannon here. I don't live a flash cannon crit. So for the sake of this being a marathon run, I'm going to go ahead and heal on the Magnezone. One thing that is possible, and is actually what happened to me yesterday when I was doing some practice, is it likes to go for light screen. And so what can happen here is I'm going to go ahead and use Bite because this Magnezone has Sturdy, which is why I didn't just KO it. And if it flinches, which it didn't, then I wouldn't have to heal after this fight. So yeah, I would have lived, but I would be dead to a crit. So.
Yeah, the Magnezone's AI is kind of weird. It seems to like to go for light screen against physical attackers, and then not against special attackers.
I have to make sure I crunch here. I accidentally bit. You used Bite against this yesterday, and it does not die. And then after this fight is Larry. Larry is going to be the only case where we have to use 2 X attacks. Both Larry... Or, not both. Both Larry fights in the run are like the 2 fights total that have an Intimidate Pokemon against us. So we... Actually, that's not true. Iono has Intimidate as well, but whatever. Because of the Intimidate, instead of being at +2 for the entire fight, we would end up being at +1. And the Flamigo is a pretty bad range at +1. So we instead go to +2 and then, or +4 with Intimidate becomes +3. And then a side effect of being at such a high attack stat is we can actually use Bite throughout the entire fight. So that helps both with move animation purposes, as well as the fact that it is Bite is just the fastest move we have in terms of animations. The downside is, because I have to use 2x attacks, I am basically guaranteed to take damage on this fight. The Tropius that leads will either use Solar Beam, which is a 2-turn move, or it will use Sunny Day, followed by Solar Beam, which then becomes a 1-turn move because of Sunny Day. So no matter what, I am taking a Solar Beam here. It's going to do about half. It's not dangerous. It's just I'm guaranteed to take damage, essentially.
Yeah, and the one thing that's funny about this is that the Tropius has Chlorophyll, so it gets faster in the sun, but it's not fast enough for it to actually matter. Because I think even with doubled speed, it's slower than the Flamigo, which you're already working to be faster than for Larry.
Yeah.
So
it's got like
never
60
something you have to think
normally.
about.
So there's a Solar Beam. Ow. I'm at +6! Oh my god. Who needs X attacks?
2 of them. But what? 5 opportunities for Anger Point, and you got it 3 times?
Yeah.
I guess it's more than that. You're only +5 now. Will you make it through the fight?
I know. That's funny. All right. So this is going to be 3 Elite Four members down, 1 more Elite Four member to go. The final Elite Four member is Hassel, who's the Dragon type Elite Four member. And the main thing to look out for on Hassel is, like I said earlier, the Noivern is the fastest thing in the Elite Four. So we should be fast enough to outspeed it. And then the Dragalge has Poison Point. So a lot of physical runs, or physical attacker runs, will either have to be creative and use a non-contact move, or risk the 30% poison. Fortunately for us, we have Earthquake, which is not only super effective against the Dragalge, meaning it definitely goes down, it is a non-contact move, so we do not have to worry about getting poison pointed in this run. All right. So that was the last time we have to use our auto heal, and because we didn't get the message saying we ran out of healing items, I think we're good.
That's such a nice feature. I hope they keep that one around.
Yeah. It is, like we were kind of mentioning earlier, it is kind of weird that, I mean, it makes sense that it only uses items that heal a fixed amount of health and stuff. It doesn't heal statuses, but like, you do have to kind of manage that specifically and be like, all right, I need to grab hyper potions, I need to grab so-and-so. Because there are sometimes you'll be like, oh, I just picked up a full restore, that'll be useful. And it's like, no, actually the full restore doesn't help at all. Or it's good to have full restores, but it doesn't help in terms of the auto healing. So here's Dragalge. Go ahead and Earthquake. And that Noivern there, you definitely want to be faster than, because it does have Super Fang, which is what we saw. But once Super Fang deals less damage, because he started using it more and more. I could have used Bite on this. That's fine. he'll switch to Air Slash, and Air Slash is a move that can 30% chance to flinch. So it is definitely one of those fights where if you're outsped and get flinched, it feels really bad. All right. I like Excalibur. It's a pretty cool Pokemon.
Yeah. I enjoyed routing it for that was the first Victory Road run I did actually. It was Excalibur alt main. It was a fun route. Use a lot of Glaive Rushes. In fact, you need to Ether Glaive Rush at one point in the E4, which I don't think there's any other Scarlet Violet run that uses PP restoring items.
No. Is it 5 PP or is it 10?
It's 5.
Okay.
I think. Now I'm questioning that.
I do know when I was routing this, I was a bit worried of running out of crunches. Which, for my purposes, like, pretty much any crunch I was using, I could substitute with an Earthquake instead, except for on the Larry fight. But it was definitely a concern. Wasn't concerning enough to actually have to get a PP restoring item. It's just you have to be cognizant of running out of moves. But it does not matter for the champion because you do get a free heal before the champion, which kind of feels like baby mode, but also is kind of makes sense because I believe the way it works in the main game is you can only terrastalize once without going to a Pokemon Center. Maybe it's once per Pokemon. I don't know. I forget exactly how it works.
It's just once period.
Yeah. So the idea is I think they want you to, if you used your Terrastal or your Terra during the Elite Four, they want you to basically have it again for the champion, which does make sense.
And then in the DLC, they're like, we should probably just remove this restriction. And then you can Terra every fight.
All right. So we get rid of this Espathra immediately. Espathra has, I think it's got Dazzling Gleam, which would like kind of hurt, but it's not too bad. The bigger thing is Espathra's ability is Opportunist, which means that it will copy any stat changes of the opponent. So if I use the next attack, it would also get +2 attack, which doesn't really matter because Espathra is a special attacker, but it is extra time that we don't want to spend. Here
it actually does have quick attack, so giving it those attack boosts can be a bit of a problem, depending on what other moves it's been hitting you with.
It does have quick attack, you're right. Uh-oh. I mean, Crunch was my best move there regardless. There's no way an Aqua Jet kills from here, right?
You're fine.
Yeah. All right. And here are the 2 Pokemon that we need the low kick for. Avalugg is so tanky that even a +2 Earthquake does not KO it. So we go out of our way to grab our low kick just because it is such a heavy Pokemon. Low kick ends up being useful. And then low kick being a faster animation than Earthquake, we're just going to use it against King Gambit as well. King Gambit would go down to an Earthquake, but it also goes down to low kicks.
Oh, we forgot to talk about Crocodile's feet.
Ah, I knew I forgot. Whatever. Go back using the new Twitch Rewind feature. You can go back to the Elite Four fights and notice that Crocodile's foot goes through the paint on the Elite Four floor, and you can actually see it like between the paint and the floor itself, because the paint is like sitting on top of it. I just went back, and I can see it.
All right, we beat the champion. That's it, right?
That's the end of the run, obviously. No, so we still have the final fight against Nimona. The only Nimona battle we have to win, which it's really funny the way I see it, because like in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, the final Brendan fight, the one that's like post credits, is a fight you can lose, and like that used to be included in the timing and all that stuff. We don't have to get into that, but basically one of the things that was like an argument for not including it was like the fight doesn't matter. You don't gain any experience, you don't gain any money, and it just so happens that that essentially equates to you don't have to win the fight in order to progress, right? In this game, the only Nimona battle that you don't gain experience on is the only one you have to win. The other 5 Nimona battles are like normal battles, but you can lose all of them. You generally don't lose the first one because it just takes too long, but you can. And so it's just funny how it is kind of the opposite. You don't gain any experience on this final fight, but it is the only one that you actually have to win. But I will say, I wasn't like dreading doing this run, but I was like, oh man, I have to go back to Scarlet and Violet. But now that I've played this a little bit more on the Switch too, I'm like, I kind of want to do some of this before ZA comes out. What's our 2 active Cat Expo things are not in Scarlet and Violet. This is a tragedy.
No. Currently we have Sword and Shield in-game Baton Pass, and then XY Fireworks Show.
XY Fireworks Show is kind of interesting because it's essentially just like the first 30 minutes or so of the run. But you kind of see like a lot of the stuff. Like I think you get skates after the first gym. So there is some interesting tech to it. Listen, I have to play E33 a lot this weekend. After this weekend, I can switch back to Pokemon. Okay.
Gotta get through that run backlog before.
I don't know if I'm gonna do that. There are some rough ones on
make
here.
a dent in it.
There are some rough ones on there. Someone redeemed Lechonk Path of Legends.
What?
Yeah.
Like you can't even evolve it?
Yeah.
Huh. Good luck. Thought mine was mean.
All right. So the only pretty important thing on this fight, actually, another reason why I need low kick, actually, is this Earthworm. Do not try to Earthquake it. It has Earth Eater, I think is the ability, which makes it heal on ground type moves instead of taking damage.
surprised low kick plus super effective text isn't faster than earthquake.
It honestly might be. It might be less powerful than low kick against the Dunsparce. I want to say the Dunsparce is 80 power low kick.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
So 80 times 2 is less than the 180 of Earthquake. So maybe you need the extra damage. I don't, again, year and a half out from routing. I don't even have my notes. I had to rewrite my notes.
Which luckily rewriting notes off of a VOD for a TAM is not difficult.
I don't have to redo any calcs. It's just like whatever I did is exactly what I can do again. But yeah, that is it for our battles. And time will end when we so after this little cutscene here, we're gonna get brought back to our dorm room, and then there's gonna be a little animation that happens around the outside of the screen, and when that disappears, that is time. But that is Victory Road, Trade Alt Main, Crocodile. Crocodile may or may not be the best Pokemon for this. Probably not, realistically. But it is my favorite Gen 5 Pokemon, which is why I chose to do it back in April of last year. And it's, I don't know, it's a really fun Pokemon. I would be curious to see if anyone else wanted to do a run like this, what other Pokemon would be good. Like I said before, we had Spider did Greninja for this during the month.
I mostly just did it not necessarily because it would be good, because I thought it'd be fun to work with Protean.
Yeah, and then Trevaria did Samurott. So those are the only Pokemon that have been done. But yeah. Anyways, time is now.
GG.
Not even sub 2.
That's on PB though.
Yeah, that is a new PB for me. But yeah, I don't have too much to say. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks Spider for organizing this whole thing. It's going to be a fun day of runs. If you are here, make sure you stick around for the rest of the runs. Up next, I believe, is Zypodic doing 151 Diglets in Sword and Shield, which is a pretty interesting category. There's a main choice that is, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a little unexpected. So it's exciting to see. And yeah, there's all sorts of runs throughout the day. I don't know if we have a schedule command.
I think so. I think I set it up.
Cool. But yeah, definitely check out the rest of the runs today.
Nice try, Fury.
And that is it for me. So, Spider, any last words before you're on later anyways?
Yeah, I'm on the run after the next one, so you'll see more from me later.
All right. Bye, everyone.